Good morning, Nerdviteria. It's Sunday, January 9th. Since last week was the silly census analysis, small plug that everyone should fill out this year's census, link in the announcements channel of the server, this video is the first real video of the new year on this channel. I also made the first video of last year on this channel where I shared some of my thoughts on New Year's as a concept and especially New Year's resolutions. I've linked to that video in the doobly-doo and also in the little white banner thing up there. I wanted this video to be a little bit of a follow-up to that one. Today I want to talk more about viewing yourself as a work in progress. Content warning, this video does contain brief mentions of serious mental health issues. I spend a lot of time thinking of myself as fundamentally flawed, or as I often refer to it on the server, a mess. And I don't think that's necessarily an inaccurate characterization, but I'm not sure that connotation or stigma is fair to myself. Sure, I have a lot of flaws and my life is messy, but it's not really so much that my life is messy as it is that life in general is messy. The older I get, the more I realize that nobody really knows what they're doing. We're all just struggle bussing along the best we can. People have told me that before, and I tacitly believed them, but it's hard to truly internalize that mindset. Even as I say those words out loud, they feel hollow and don't necessarily ring true, because it really does appear like everyone else has it more together than I do. I was talking with some of my housemates recently about my experience in uni, and I described our school as a hellscape. It feels like every minute I've spent here has been a struggle to keep my head above water and keep moving forward. I'm never satisfied with the level at which I can function and learn, and my housemates were taken aback by this description. They agreed that undergrad had been hard, but they wouldn't have described it quite so harshly. The fact that other people have had a much milder experience than me calls into question the idea that everyone is a mess. Clearly there must be something different or even wrong with me. However, I think this is where it's important to look at as many different experiences as possible, because there's a whole other social group I have who seem to be struggling the way that I do. We're all constantly stressed out and spread thin. 3 of them have been hospitalized for mental health issues in the past 3 months. 2 of us are currently going through intensive outpatient programs. I think perhaps the narrative that everyone is a mess is flawed because we see so many counterexamples around us, and perpetuating the idea that literally everyone is struggling the way we are sometimes discounts and downplays the struggles we're facing. If someone looks at me and says, well, everyone at your school struggles, it's a really hard school, instead of making me feel less alone, I actually feel more isolated. Because I look at the people who were astonished to hear me call this place a hellscape, and I think if they also struggled, but they still got through with decent grades and without passively considering suicide, then if I can't live up to those same standards, there must be something wrong with me. Perhaps a healthier view is that there are extremely disparate levels of struggling, but very rarely is everything going as smoothly as it appears on the outside. One of the most put-together people I know is my mom, but the older I get, the more I understand where pieces of her life are not as put together as they appear. She's not good at cooking, she isn't organized with money. When you zoom into the details, a lot of things could be construed as falling apart, but she's learned how to work around her shortcomings to overall be successful as a person. And that's ultimately what we all have to do, is learn how to work around our shortcomings. As a side note, the people who share my experiences, I met on a server of neurodiverse people who go to my school. There seems to be a very strong correlation between neurodiversity and serious struggles at my school, and likely at uni in general. I might make another video on that in the future because it's very frustrating, but finding community in people that struggle the way that I do and starting to understand that there's a reason that I struggle, that my brain is simply wired differently, has been really validating and comforting as I'm trying to navigate my way through my undergrad degree. I will hopefully see Gray the Crawfish next week, and DFTBA everyone!